What's up, everyone? We just want to say thank you for listening to the podcast and that this episode is sponsored by Straight Stoner, also known as the brand SS96. Shop today for t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and more. For listening today, you receive not 10, not 15, not 20, but 30% off. Yes, that's right, 30% off. Just use the code SWISHMASTERS today. Visit ss96.net and use the promo code SWISHMASTERS.
Xzeq, next series we get to now.
Oh,
We both picked
oh,
the Bucks and the Knicks. You know, we picked that series. But I think we both said it would go 7. But we were wrong.
we
Win.
were wrong again.
Fairness, we ain't know Harden would get hurt in that first game. And in fairness, we know Kyrie would get hurt. Was it game 5? No.
It was 4. Game 4. The Bucks. Oh, dang.
We were both wrong. I'll take the mantle first. So I'll take a crack at it first. I was wrong because again, I didn't know they would get hurt. And you know what? In hindsight, I'm glad the Nets lost. I'm glad they lost.
Oh.
They put 3 players with no depth because of things like this. Because of lack of depth, you find yourself in this situation.
I mean,
think about some of the key players they traded. I sure they would have loved Karis LeVert during that series. No Jared Allen.
yeah.
You can't just put stuff together and expect to come out. You need the proper support around you. And granted, they did pretty well during regular season, but there's a reason we see all 3 of them on the floor at the same time. It was due to injury.
Yep.
And it reared its ugly head again in the playoffs. I'm not sure we should be surprised by that.
Yeah.
So looking back in hindsight, I'm like, okay, it makes sense. So again, even though I picked the Nets to win like everybody else, I'm like, okay, you can't just put a super team together like that anymore. Maybe that's not enough anymore in today's NBA. So, because more teams are more competitive now and we're more prepared. So if you think about it, most teams have at least 2 All-Stars on them, or at least the All-Star potential.
True.
So, most competitive teams.
Yeah. Shout out to the Milwaukee Bucks. Shout out to them. No takeaways from their performance. But like you said, yeah, the Nets do have to evaluate their situation a little bit better as well. Obviously, we all know the talent that was on that team: Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving. But of course, we can't predict injuries. We can't predict who's gonna be feeling what way after they come back or try to play through injuries. And obviously, they got hit hard. But they kind of, like you said, got exposed because you got 3 big-time superstar talents on one team. They're all having big salaries, and that leaves little to no room to sign those extra pieces that you need, like a defensive player like a Jared Allen. And also you have other players that you like, DeAndre Jordan, that didn't play. I don't know exactly why, but obviously that's another topic for the big man evolution. But you have a lot of talent, but you have to have that depth when you go into the playoffs because you have to prepare for situations, and the playoffs is really about having the next man up. And like you said, it would have been nice to have a Karis LeVert. Obviously, it would have been nice to have a Spencer Dinwiddie if he hadn't had his injury. Obviously they had some guys step up. Jeff Green, Uncle Jeff is, consistent, been pretty good. Mike James had a couple of good games, but you're going up against Giannis, you're going up against Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez, Forbes. Like, you know what I mean? Like there was a very well constructed team with, like you said, they have 2 all-stars, and then they have dudes that are like capable of being, if not maybe all-stars, they have capability of being top tier, or at least second to top tier. Yeah, like starters in this league. So shout out to Drew Holiday playing solid defense. Chris Middleton really just is evolving as a player, big time shot making. And shout out to Brook Lopez holding it down the middle. Like they did the thing. PJ Tucker, they did a good job. And I think Mike Budenholzer might have saved himself a season. You know what I mean? Yeah. Giannis showed us that he has more to his game than we, have seen in the past. He kind of stuck with it. He gave us like you said, a great performance, like 40 and 14 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And down the line when his team needed it, he did what he had to do. So shout out to them. And another thing I want to point out, just real quick, shout out to Kevin Durant, man.
Oh yeah.
KD gave everything he could. That man played a 48-minute game gave you a 40-point triple-double. Gave you, in the last game, over 40, hit a big-time shot, and you could just tell at the end he was gassed, man. And it sucks, but we saw the greatness of Kevin Durant. We saw that he came back from his injury strong, and if not better, how unstoppable he was. But you got to build around him, even outside of Harden and Kyrie. And prayers up to them. Hopefully they are resting and recovering well. They get this time now to get better, come back better, and hopefully the Nets will be able to do more things to build around those guys and help them to get to that championship eventually, or contend again.
Right. Yeah. Real quick, does this loss say anything about Kevin Durant?
I think
the Nets were still championship or bust. They were one of those teams.
It was the expectation for them to be championship contenders, especially with all 3 of those guys healthy. And really throughout the season, we didn't really get all 3 of them, maybe but 9 or 10 games. And then we saw in the first round against Boston, but we knew that even without the 3 of them, that they would probably beat Boston. But to be fair, it kind of says some things about KD. Obviously, he went, we all know, one of the strangest moves, I'll just put it that way, in free agency history, going to the Warriors, team that you lost to in the Western Conference Finals, wins 2 championships with them. Oh, decides, I'm going to do my own thing. And nothing bad about his game, but it's just like you expect that, he's arrived, he's the guy, he's the best player in the league. You want to see him be able to like do it his own way. And it was kind of disappointing that we didn't get to see that fully flesh out, but a little disappointing.
I normally say superstars get you 1, and he got the 1 game that they needed, which was game 5.
Yeah.
No. He was literally like half an inch or toe away from winning the game.
It was a toe away.
Literally like a toe away.
Yeah.
From winning the game. So
it's wild.
No knock on him.
He gave it all he could. I have to give him that. He gave it all he had.
But I'm I'm not sure. I'll save it. Because he clearly has the talent to do it on his own, or at least with another All-Star. But to have just a stacked team like that, I don't know. If he did win, I know it would have said a lot about him. I think it would have raised his status as an all-time player, because we both know he's an all-time player.
Definitely.
Where he stands right now, it's not that clear. But if he won, definitely got to the next round with the hamper team like that. Just think about it. The reason why LeBron's so up there, despite where people have him, you have to admit he's up there, is that his ability to carry and to do it by himself. And even though he lost some series with a depleted team, but he pushed it, and he still got to the finals. He was still able to push to game sevens. So
yeah,
I think that's why his status is so up there.
Going up against,
he had a chance to do that too. He didn't get a chance to do that, so I don't think it hurts him so much, but I think he lost out on the chance to raise his legacy.
No conversation.
Yeah. To put him in that conversation of like higher on the all-time list.
I guess that's fair. I'll say that, to be fair to him, he did have an expectation of, I got my guys, Kyrie and James, but they went down. James Harden clearly wasn't James Harden that we know of. Kyrie was hurt, and they didn't have many other pieces outside of Jeff Green, Landry Shamet, not really much. Bruce Brown, Blake Griffin. Shout out to Blake Griffin too, but just I think you have to take that into account, but also I get what you mean. Like LeBron took, I don't even know who was on that team after Kyrie left. It was just him and Tristan Thompson, and they got to the finals at least. So I think that's a fair argument, but I can't doubt the greatness of KD. Like watching that series, like that was a great series by both teams, and obviously like probably some of the greatest performances in the playoffs we've ever seen from Kevin Durant. Like no, you can't doubt his skill. You can't doubt him as probably being one of the best, if not the best, one-on-one player in our current era. So
yeah, again, there's no denying of his talent or anything. My argument was that he probably had a chance to push, get higher on the list of the all-time greats. Because again, we both agree he is an all-time great.
Yeah.
Just where he falls.
Yeah.
So he had a chance to really push it, but again, it doesn't hurt him so much. But he had a chance to gain so much.
Yeah.
But now if he was fully healthy and they still lost, like that's another conversation. The reason he didn't lose so much is because his team was so hampered.
True.
But again, I'm okay with them losing because it shows that you need depth. You can't just have just this together. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm okay with that. So